she is.
Is it me? Is it my turn? Is it me?
Not to hear my mouth, child.
Oh no, listen, you were doing a great job. So I just wanted to sit and just listen myself, be in the
Oh,
audience
come
to hear
on,
you.
Kim.
Listen, I had to get all, glamorified because I had to get all glamorified because, I have this hot host right here, hot special guest.
Oh my
Oh, I
God.
had to put on the lashes, and I love my hairstyles. Look at you, look at you, look at you,
I
look at you.
like it. Oh, Bob magic.
No,
Look at
y'all
the
can't take
Bob
me
magic.
away. Y'all can't
Got
take me
the
away.
lashes, girl.
Yes,
You
ma'am.
ahead.
Listen, let's go ahead and put us side by side here real quick. All right, because I want to make sure I can see these lashes right. I want to make sure that the wig's tight, wig meaning hair, this is how we say it. But yes, and at first I was going to dress up like Jess because she had the sparkly, the sequin ensemble. So, I hope y'all can see through my see-through
Oh my
dress that I
God.
have the sparkly sequin.
I
And
had
so I
to
said
put
I
it
gotta match
in.
with her.
I
And
had to put it.
listen, I didn't even have a drink yet. So all this that you're getting tonight, because see, we on fire with this whole Be Limitless movement that we're talking
Yes.
about. Yes.
Yes.
Listen, we're talking about Be Limitless in relationships. And this is, hey, your limitless liberator, Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, with my lovely hot host, co-host, featuring the one and only Jessica Karin. She is the relationship expert. She is all things relationships, but she also is a speaker, an amazing author. So you make sure that y'all check her out because she can definitely help and serve you to help you to become limitless. Yes or yes?
Yes.
All right. So real quick, I heard Jessica asked you, first of all, thank you for your time. Thank you for watching the replay. Thank you for sharing it. Thank you for liking it. Thank you for just being here because you could have been anywhere, but you decided to be with us. So we just want to say thank you so much for being a part of our time and our lives and, our lives here. And we just want to say that with that said, before we start talking about the conversation today, as Jessica said, we can talk about any topic. And that's why we want you to also put in the comment section or even message us. Let us know what topics are of interest to you so that we can give you the great, amazing curated content that's going to have you to show up even the more and start inviting your friends and your frenemies and everybody else when we're talking about things that you care about. Because we can talk about a lot of things, such as let's do some commentary. We can also talk about things that happens in the news. We can be gossip columnists. We can all do those things. But we want to make sure that you walk away feeling limitless. We want you to walk away feeling empowered, inspired, renewed, restored. That is our intention with our conversation, with the cookies and cocktails and conversations. We want you to make sure that you walk away feeling different, leaving different, so that you can start doing different results and getting different results in your lives. Yes?
Yes.
So please make sure that y'all message us. Let us know what you will want us to talk about so that we can give you that information and help you to be limitless. So before we start, she already asked about who you are, where you're from. So go ahead and shout us down. And real quick, before we get into the topic, here's why I was late. Now I don't even have my glass. Y'all got to hold on. I'm going to try to not stand up all the way here. I'm just going to slide over because sometimes we don't have. I have bottoms. This is a dress, but sometimes we don't have our bottoms on. Right? We still doing that with Zoom. Sometimes we have our bottoms. Sometimes we don't.
Not me. Not tonight.
So I got to get in fashion of this is cookies, cocktails, and combos. But sometimes I don't see us having cookies. So what's going on with that? We're making sure we got the cocktails, but we got to make sure we have the cookies. Anyway,
I have them. Like I said, I off camera, I'm bad with the sweets. So my cookies are not cute. They are just, sweet girl cookies. And I gotta get some cute cookies for the combos. Cause y'all be looking at me like, what is going on with her and them daggone weird looking cookies? So I got really, girly cookies.
listen. So reason I want to say why I was late. I was fashionably late. It wasn't just me getting the ensemble ready, although it was a little bit. Um, for those who have followed me for some time, when I was living with my parents some years ago in Philly, there was this person or a neighbor who I had parking wars with. I don't know. I mean, I'm dating back quite a few years. Who can remember that story? And how that person used to come to our home, park in front of our house, and they would take up two spaces. So they had two cars to our one car. So I always had to park across the street on the other side of where we lived. And it was challenging because there was no parking on that main street that I had to park across the street as opposed to parking in front of my daggone parents' home. And risk of getting car hit, side swiped, all of that, because they felt that they owned the block, they owned the neighborhood. And so we used to have some parking wars. So fast forward. So that was behind us. I remember taking a picture. They used to put a cone in front of our house. And one day I just had it. I took that cone and I took pictures. My brother was taking pictures. I was like slinging it, throwing it, tossing it, just being limitless. I was limitless before I was limitless. And that was, I guess, Renee, Nay came out. Now, my parents, especially my dad, didn't appreciate that. My dad knows me. He knows that I can be nice, sweet, nice, all that, sugary spice, all that. But I pick and choose my battles. And when, I just felt it was unfair. So anything that has to do with unfairness and injustice, that just raises something in me. And it's like, that's not fair. You got two cars, you see my parents, you see my mom, you see the challenge that we have, and you're parking in front of our house and then you don't care. I just felt that was unfair. Now, circle back. Fast forward now. So one of my houses in my house in Maryland, we have assigned parking. So picture this. I just left from getting something to eat, and I decided to challenge myself to get home. I'm like, I can get home. I had to go to the bathroom, but I said, you know what? I'm going to challenge my bladder. I'm going to get to the house in no time. Oh, I did not factor, although I knew that it was rush hour time. But for whatever reason, I wanted to pretend like it wasn't rush hour time until I got caught in rush hour time. And so now my bladder is like, what are you doing to me? Why are you doing this to us? And when I got home, the neighbor, the assigned parking is in front of our home. So we all had two parking spaces per person. So I always park in my parking spaces because I have two cars to my neighbor's one car. He never parks in front of my house. So, hey, if I had parked at my parking space, I wasn't going to make it. Because you know how, like, when you get closer to when you almost are home and you're almost to the bathroom, it seems like it just gets worse for whatever reason. Can y'all talk back to me? Who knows what I'm talking about? Put a heart, like, OMG, emoji, something. Who knows what I'm talking about? It seems like you're just there, and it seems to just get worse and worse as soon as you get close to the house. So it was just getting worse. I was like, you know what? I whipped my stick because I have a stick shift. I had to whip it. I just parked. I was like, I hope I stopped it. I hope I put it in park. I had to jump out the car and get to the bathroom. I made it. Hallelujah. I made it. Praise God. Like I would tell you if I didn't. So, hey, I made it. Let's just say for the point, I made it. I know Jessica's like, what are you talking about? Is this cookies, cocktails, and convos? Are we talking about relationships? Is this being limitless? Listen, I'm just trying to give y'all a reason why I was late for the show. So, oh my gosh. So as I was getting ready, I made it, and then I actually took a nap because I wanted to make sure I was up for this. I go to bed at a decent hour, because the age that I am at this time, I enjoy my sleep. I love to go to bed early, and so I can rise up early and pray and meditate and get ready for the next day. So I decided to take a nap so I can stay up for this. And lo and behold, I hear someone heckling at my house, talking about, can you please not park in my parking space? This is rude and annoying. And I'm like, is he talking to me? So I guess so, because my brother, Lord have mercy, I got the right brother hanging out with us. Ty was like, your neighbor decided to put a note in your door. And the note said, can you please stop parking in my parking space? It is annoying and rude. But no, here's the clincher. He literally drew an angry face with the he drew an angry face with the pointed eyebrows when you're mad. But he actually literally drew an angry face on there.
Oh my goodness. Are
So
you serious?
I am serious. So me and my brother were cracking up.
Wow.
And I said, okay, so Nay came out. So that's why I brought up the other story. So Nay came out again. First of all, I haven't been parking in this dude's parking space for months. I had stopped because I could tell that he had an attitude. So I was like, I'm not going to park anymore. But darn it, nature called. I answered. And hey, I fell asleep. So because usually I would, like, once I'm done or whatever, if I park there, I'll only park for a few minutes and I will move my car. I didn't this time. I went to sleep so I can be up and be vibrant and ready with Jessica, Karin, and all of you. And yeah, so here's what I did. Or you tell me, what do you think I did? What do you think I did?
I don't even want to act like because I might say the wrong things. I don't know what you did.
Just guess. It's all right. If you say it wrong, I'll correct. It's all right to be wrong
You gave him
sometimes.
a piece of your mind.
So I'll give him a piece of my mind.
That's a nice way of putting it.
Very nice way. Because we still gotta keep it classy and holy here from time to time. We gotta do a good balance with that. So this is what I did do. I asked the elder of the house, asked my daddy. I said, Daddy, you see this note? He read it. He just shook his head. He's like, I tell you, boy, what is this? What is this? What is this? Why? I said, Dad, now I told you earlier that my dad before he always would get on me, come at me, get on my case when I would, give a piece of my mind to the neighbors back where they live, because he's like, look, we live here. You don't live here. We don't want any heat. We don't know. We don't want no smoke. So I had to calm down, but my dad knows me. So it's like, he knows what he raised. So I was like, okay, Dad, let me ask you, what should I do? He's like, you know what? You tell him. You go ahead and let him know. I was shocked. I was like, oh, okay.
Co-sign?
He gave me, yes, he co-signed. He greenlit. He greenlit. He gave the green light to it. So this is what I did. I turned that nice note over, and I said, because remember it said, can you not park in my parking space? It is rude and annoying, and the angry face with the pointed eyebrows and frown and all that.
The
So
eyebrow.
yeah, so I took the time to write, I had to pee. Thanks. With a smiley face, and I made her as a girl. So I put the curls in there and the pearls. I put the pearls because I wanted to be reminiscent, and representative of me. And then I said, P.S. I will only park at your space when I have to pee really bad. And I put the note on his car.
What in the what?
The end.
Sorry.
I'm
Both
so
of
who the both of us? Me and my
eyebrows,
daddy?
the curls in the hair, the angry eyebrows. What in the world?
The pearls. I put pearls on.
Oh, the pearls.
Yes, I did. I put like little circles around the neck part. I gave her a neck. And yes, I sure did.
Oh
So be limitless. Are you not gonna drink to that?
oh yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
I have to.
All right. So let's talk now about be limitless in relationships. Great segue, right? The night's topic is brought to you by the shenanigans of the Langley household.
Now all I'm gonna have in my head the whole night is the pearls and the angry eyebrows. I can't think about anything else. You're gonna be like, what do you think about commitment and relationships, Jess? I'm gonna be like, pearls and angry eyebrows. Anyway,
Oh, Jesus, Lord have mercy, y'all. Listen, what do y'all think I should have done? Y'all can put it in the comment section as I, put it on Facebook what this conversation is really about. But hey, you always gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh. You gotta laugh to keep from crying. You know, to keep from choking out people. You just gotta laugh. So today, great segue to talk about be limitless in relationships. Are you really committed? Are you really committed in your relationship? What do you think about that word, commitment? Jesus.
Yeah,
You already see how I'm reacting. I brought this up because I think it was either a couple of memes that I was seeing. You know, where do you get your inspiration from? I know a lot of times I get inspiration from people's posts, from memes, to be like, okay, this is a great topic. We need to talk and address this. Because you know me, I'm going to always tie it back to something going on in your life so that you can now work on it so that you can be limitless. So just follow us for a second in regards to the whole conversation regarding, are you committed in your relationship? Like, is it just you and him or her? Like, is him and you or her and you? Is it just you and your boo, or is it crowded? Is it like, you know what, I'm not really committed like that, or I am committed, I'm committed to him and him? Like, I just want to know more about the commitment piece. What does commitment mean to you? So hey, Jess, and everyone, you can put in the comment section, what are your thoughts in regards to commitment regarding relationships? Jess, you're the expert here. Talk to us about that.
All right. I have to apologize in advance for any background noise. I can't predict it. It's Friday and people are going buck wild. Anyway,
All good.
commitment it's a very loaded statement because it's different things to different people. One thing that came to my mind, because there's a lot to unpack, I'll just focus on this one thing for now. One thing that came to my mind is circumstantial commitment. And what I mean by that is a lot of us find ourselves in committed relationships and circumstances because of something that is going on at the moment. Let's just keep it real. Some people fall into commitment because they have kids together. Some people fall into commitment because they feel like they're getting older. Some people fall into commitment for various reasons. They feel like they can't get anyone else, or they feel like they don't want that to see that person with someone else. But when we think about commitment, we really want to approach it from a perspective of understanding what your definition of commitment is. We can give you a million definitions, but it's really about what your definition of commitment is. Some people feel like they're committed if they're with somebody, but they can also be committed to someone else at the same time. They can, have 3 or 4 dating relationships going at one time because their level of commitment to each person is specific, and and they may feel like that's okay. Some people may say, hey, if you're with me, you're exclusively with me. So now you have to break down definitions in relationships and definitions when you meet people. So, in reference to commitment, like I said, initially, the first thing that came to my mind was circumstantial commitment. Some people are committed because they have kids together, or they feel like it's a financial decision, or they feel like whatever it is, they feel like they have to do it. That's not the type of commitment we want to find ourselves in. We want to find ourselves in a situation where we choose what is our definition, and we actually consciously make a decision to commit in the way we understand it mutually with the other person, and then we move forward in that way. So I just wanted to kind of open the discussion up in that way, Dr. Sarah, to talk about that, because some people don't know the difference. They say, I'm committed, and you say, well, do you love the person? And they say, well, we've been together for about 15 years. That you didn't answer the question. We got 5 kids. You didn't answer the question. So we kind of want to dispel those myths initially. So you can take it away. I just wanted to kind of introduce that factor into it as well.
Okay, well, since I like to be transparent because I feel like if I was grown and bad to do certain things, then I'm grown and bad enough to talk about it. If it's going to make a difference in someone else's life, if it's going to relate to someone's story, if it's going to help them to be encouraged and empowered, that if I was able to do it, then you can too. So for me, when it comes to commitment and being able to understand, first of all, what is the standard to it? It's like what we would consider as, even back in the day in growing up, that you're supposed to be married, you're supposed to be monogamous, That's the standard. If you're not supposed to have any children out of wedlock, you're supposed to be married and have them. That's the standard. And you know what? I see that today, in this year that we're in, at the time of this recording, people have been breaking through were considered as the standard, and they're creating their own standard. So sometimes it's challenging to say, okay, well, this is what commitment really is, but who's calling it? Especially if it's for the point working out for that relationship. Um, it was interesting that even with counseling, having counseled couples before, and this whole thing is not new, it's just given different names every year or every X amount of years. When it comes to polygamy, it's I can never pronounce it right. Polyamorous, I believe it's called, where you're having multiple people or multiple relationships that you're committed to. And it's all about the commitment, the rules of engagement. Everybody's clear about how we're going to do this and have more than two people in the relationship. And then that person can consider themselves being committed to it because they're buying into it's incentivized. They are all in with it. So with that said, talking about commitment is based on your energy, your time, you being all in, even if that means that there's multiple people in there, versus you're not committed for, let's say, for the point of you're not all in, you're not really investing in your time, your attention, your energy, your money, your resources into the relationship. And you'll justify, Lord have mercy, as much as I can't stand injustice and unfairness, I truly cannot stand when people do not take ownership or accountability or responsibility for their own and for their own behavior, attitude, philosophy, thoughts. They're always trying to make excuses for. And that's one part of the reason why I wanted to jokingly bring up about me. I'm like, oh, let me let me give you my reason why excuse for not being here on time. There is no excuse. I should have been here on time. So the point is, so I take ownership for that. And I apologize for not being on time. But the whole thing is that how committed are you? Because when you find something that is important, you will show up. You will give your time, your attention. You'll give your time and attention to things that you find that's important to you, that you care about the most. So sometimes if you're oscillating, if you're, back and forth, or you're straddling the fence about being committed in the relationship, let's say, regardless of if you have multiple partners, if you have one person, commitment, if you're not all in, my question to you is, how are you showing up in other areas of your life when it comes to commitment? It's not just in one area. That means that you may not be committed in other areas of your life. And then you're like, oh, I can't find no good man. I can't find no good woman. Here we go, making up the excuses, justifying stuff. I just can't have this, and I just can't have it. And I'm ready. I want it. Do you really? It's time for us to check, y'all. It's time for us to check in within, introspective look within. I said the other day, I think I said a retrospective. I was like, I surely was having a lot of cocktails. You didn't correct me, Gus. Come on now. You're supposed to hold me accountable. Introspective look within yourself. And when it comes to commitment. So that's my spiel on that. Put in the comment section, what are your thoughts? Feel free to debate. It's fine, because at the end of the day, we're all trying to learn how to rise, how to raise up, how to truly be limitless. Yes?
Yes.
Jess, what you think? What's your thoughts?
No, the thing that stood out to me that you just talked about was people making excuses for not wanting to commit in a particular area when they know that they're non-committal in other areas. It's
Right.
almost goes right back to what we talked about in the last show, which is taking personal responsibility for your actions and learning how to deal with you intrapersonally. It's always starts intrapersonally. And so you have to look within yourself and say, hey, I do want this. A lot of us want a romantic relationship. We want things to work. We want to get married. We want all of these things. But how committed are we to the things in our own life on a basic level? I took a seminar about 2 years ago. It was the workshop. It was about a week, and I went out of town. And one thing that I learned from that workshop was how can we be committed in the small things like keeping our word.
Yes.
At the time I had so much going on, with the kids and with work and all of these different things. And I was trying to get my books up. And you know what? I was committing myself to things that I knew that I could not do. But I was still wanting things to work out in my romantic relationship. So, like Dr. Sarah said, how committed are you? If you have a job, how committed are you to your place of work? If you have children, how committed are you to them? If you have business, how committed are you to that? Self-care, how committed are you to yourself?
That's
I
good.
always say this in a lot of the videos that I've done. I said you need to be on full, and then everybody else gets the overflow. If you're going off of fumes, how can you give what you don't have? So if you're not even committed to yourself, so it's so easy for us, Dr. Sarah, to give to other people, right? I've seen people go through hell and high water and be able to create miracles within their relationships. Oh, I did this for him. I helped him start a business. I made sure he had this. I made sure he did that. I make sure my household is immaculate. But you're running on fumes because you're not committed to your own self care. You're not committed to yourself. But a lot of us do the backwards thing, like you said, Dr. Sarah, is we work our way backwards. We are not committed in other areas, but we want commitment, and we want to be committed to someone else in a romantic relationship. So commitment, you're absolutely 100% right. How committed are we to the things in our personal life before we could even want a commitment in our romantic lives?
That's so excellent. I love what you just said, because at the end of the day, it really starts from within, not from
Yes.
without first, within. But the reason why it starts from without, like it starts externally, like you said,
Yes.
you're doing everything and being perfect everywhere else, but you're on E. One of my clients used to say this: being on E with 1,000 miles more to go, running on fumes, but still have 1,000 miles more to go because of whatever insecurity, whatever inadequacy, whatever you're trying to make up, where you feel like you're missing, you're broken, you're lacking. There's a void that you're trying to fill. So you're performing, you're doing everything that you feel is right, an obligation to trying to keep something. Because if we were to take the mask off of you, you would feel like something's wrong with you. You're insignificant. You're worthless. You're not valuable. You're insignificant. You're nothing. So we always overcompensating for things that we think that are missing within us, and we pour our whole heart and soul into something, and then we're still not happy. We're still not satisfied. We're still not content, because it can only start and be filled in here from within you. So you is home. It starts at home with you. And thank you, Burrell, for chiming in. He had said that first he had said about what did I do? Did I curse the people out, whatever, or what did I do? He was like, I cussed them all to hell. But as y'all got to hear, I just wrote the note that said, I had to pee, and I will continue to park here if I have to pee real bad. And now, as far as with this conversation, Burrell has said, real commitment is a genuine exhibition of loyalty to your significant other. Genuine. I love that word, genuine. It's
Yes.
pure. It's it's abundant. It's rich. It's full. It's perfect. And perfect in the sense of perfect, not how, again, dispelling that myth about perfection. Perfection does not mean you do everything right. Perfection means whole, complete, full, rich. So it's perfect. It's pure. It's genuine. So thank you so much for chiming in, Burrell. We really appreciate you and your time. So, hey, what should happen? What do you think, Jessica, Karin, what do you think that people should do regarding their commitment level to their relationship, or more so commitment to themselves? Where should they even start?
Well, they should always, as you said before, it should always start at home. It should always start with you. But I will even go as far to say, because some people I can hear them in my head, hey, I'm doing those things. I'm committed in my own life. I am that virtuous woman. I just had a mentoring session yesterday, and we were talking about this, and she told me, she said, you know, let me ask you a question. Are you committed to your family? I said, yes. She said, are you committed to your finances? I said, yes. Are you committed to God first? Yes, I am. All of these things, she went down the line and I said, yes, yes, yes. She said, okay, then now you're in position to want more, to get more, to receive more. So some people may say, hey, I've done all of those things. I checked all of those boxes. What do I have left? There's still so much more work to do. And the work is not necessarily within you now. The work is with who you choose.
Hmm.
And I think a lot of times we don't look at that. We say, hey, I'm this, so I deserve that. And then when we get that, it's almost like, hey, what else is there to do but to, go to the next step? But that's not always cut and dry. So to answer your question, Dr. Sarah, the first thing, of course, it starts at home. But the second thing is check, 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 check. Please check who you're choosing and check what their level of commitment is, not just to themselves, but to the relationship. There's layers to this, there's levels to this. You both can come in a situation, say, hey, I'm committed to all of these things, but now we have to have a mutual commitment. What are the expectations? What are the understanding? What are the conversations that we need to have? Because now we're talking about combined commitment. We're not
Right.
just talking about individual commitment. We're talking about combined commitment. And what does that mean? That means that there are factors that still need to be put into play, because it's going to be a becoming one process. We hear that all the time, the two become one flesh. What does that mean? That's a process. That means that both of you have to not only be committed to the process, but now you have to be committed to the details. So to answer that question, make sure that, yeah, you have your things in pole position, but if you're with someone, make sure that it's in alignment. Because you don't want to just feel like, hey, I could find 10 guys that have their stuff together, right? But what makes me and one of those 10 click? Mutual commitment, understanding, everything's intertwined. So now we both have to say, and not just that, because I hear people say it all the time, I don't have to be committed to one person until I'm married. True, true, true. But if you're dating with a purpose to marry and you're focused on one person, then that's the person that you need to try to fit the combined commitment. You have to have those conversations with that one person to find out and centralize your focus, because sometimes we're all over the place.
Hmm.
You can't be, listen, if you're committed to your kids, can you be committed to someone else's kids at the same time as equal? No, because they're your children. So this this is what I'm telling you. A lot of times our commitment is everywhere, spread out. We need to centralize our commitment. We need to focus in on what we want and who we want, and then we need to go from there. So that's it.
You're gonna drink to that? I don't see you drinking enough. This is cookies, cocktails, and combos. Goodness. All right. So Burrell has said polyamorous. I hope I'm saying it right. So
Yes,
apparently y'all already know by now. If I can't even say it right, then y'all know that I'm not in one. People are only committed to the positive things of relationships. They stay away from those things that are challenging. Interesting, isn't it? Yes. Why do you think that is, Burrell? Why is it that they are only staying away from those things that are challenging and only gravitating to the things that are positive? Talk back to us. Let us know what your thoughts are. To that point, in my opinion, a professional opinion, having counseled couples, again, that's actually how I started my counseling practice, was counseling couples. And for, wow, telling my age. I mean, I look like I'm for almost 30 years. So I know that I look like I'm like
hey, I see
16.
all the way out there because someone asked me a direct question, so I had to say something. So go ahead.
listen, listen, as far as with the reason why people gravitate, I mean, come on now, how's it go? You can attract people or bees with honey than you can with vinegar, or flies with honey than, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Point is, because now the wine is talking. The point is that yes, we all want everything to be sugary, sweet, spice, nice. However, here I'm going to go into my motivational spiel. So I go to YouTube University to listen to my YouTube mentors. And one mentor always talks about in personal development, how when he used the example of being at a job. When you go to a job, you're not at the job to see what you can get from the job. You're actually going there to develop yourself, to see who you become while at that job. And when it comes to the relationships that can be challenging, either you got to do a checklist. Like Jessica said, in terms of alignment, are y'all in alignment? Are y'all communicating? Because we talked about that. The reason why a lot of marriages, relationships do fail is because of the lack of communication. So if the rules of the engagement are not clearly defined, or you're not in agreement with it, then yes, it's definitely going to show up in your relationship. And unfortunately, but perhaps it isn't unfortunate, it's going to show up in other areas of your life. And so now we have these challenges to help us to grow, to cultivate us, to grow us, to elevate us. We're going to go through these tests to see if we are grown to pass them. Did we actually learn everything we were supposed to learn from that relationship? That's why for me, I don't regret anything. At one point I did. At one point I did regret a lot of decisions that I made when it came to relationships. Since then, I do not, because I see how in every single situation or relationship, I have grown, I have learned from it. It played part. Another YouTube mentor that I have, she had talked about how, every person is a golden link in the chain of my greatness, in a chain of my excellence, in a chain of my growth. So in a chain of my limitlessness. So every relationship that I've had located me, helped me to know, instead of me beating myself up, which I used to do that. I had to now say, you know what, what's the point? I keep beating myself up. It's about me learning. What did I learn from the situation? I believe it was Nelson Mandela who said that every day may not be a great day, but every day is a learning day. So what are we learning in the relationship? What are we learning about commitment? What are we learning about ourselves? What do we need to address so that we can pass this test, and not just pass it, not just, learn to pass a test if it didn't really sink into our heart. The bottom line is, do your checklist, check yourself, your commitment level, your definition of it, the alignment or lack thereof, the commitment or lack thereof. And you do not have to stay in it. If it's not working, listen, I'm not here to advocate or promote for you to stay or to leave. Just know that you have a choice. You do have an option. You can stick it out if you so choose, for the sake of you two or being in alignment and want to work it out together. It's so hard and so heavy when you have to feel like you're carrying the weight for both you and that relationship or that person's load. If it becomes a factor, and here's my counseling part coming out, that it's to a point that you're depleted, you're depressed, you're anxious, you're feeling mental, you're feeling like you're having challenges, it's impacting your weight, it's impacting your day-to-day functioning. You need to either consider talking to a professional counselor, consider talking to a relationship expert like Jessica, or you have to make some decisions that will be best for you. And it's okay. Give yourself permission. It is okay to make yourself first and make sure that you are okay. Not in the name of God, not in the name of, and I said it, not in the name of God. God doesn't want you to be depleted like that. He didn't make you and have you to go through all of that. No, just for you to be miserable. You're here just to be miserable and then die. Come on now. What's the point of us being here? It's just to be here, go through hell, and then die. No, that's not of God. Okay. That's not of God. And I think I feel like that's something that we will probably have to talk about one day soon, Jessica, in regards to how we have been taught, just like what Melissa had posted in the last part, where, with the church, how, or with faith-based organizations. It's not just, just at the church, but it's like how sometimes that we are taught in religion, and how we're supposed to sacrifice ourselves in the name of, but God gave us Jesus. He
Yeah.
sacrificed. You
Yeah.
know, it's like we don't have to, we're now under grace. We don't have to do anything. It's like, you know what I mean? We keep seemingly go back to the cross and go before the cross. And, you know, all these things that we have been taught that needs to be dispelled so that you can be free and limitless. So I know I went off on that part. My point is, please check yourself, check your emotions, check the rules of the engagement, check your alignment, check your communication. If things are working out, y'all two are working equally shared, 100, 100, not 50, 50, 100, 100. And yes, it can happen. We don't want to hear, oh, it's too good to be true. That can never happen because no one's perfect. I just told you that perfect means whole.
Yes.
Two whole people. And yes, you can be whole. There are people who are whole. There are people who are whole and having whole relationships. So you need to start looking at those examples versus the ones that are not whole, jacked up, and you're saying, see, that's why. That's why my relationship is like this, because there is no such thing as, no, there is. You just deciding on which way you want to look. Start looking at some good whole relationships and don't try to find stuff in those whole relationships. Don't be like, okay, there has to be something. Because honey, then that just says that there is no hope here. I know. I gotta be honest. There is no hope then. If you're still trying to find something wrong and negative all the time, again, we talked about that. Whatever's coming out of you or whatever you're attracting, whatever you're getting is coming from out of you. Like attracts like.
Yes, it
So if
does.
you don't want that anymore, then it means it's not about what you're getting from anything and everyone. It's about who you are becoming in the whole process. It's time for you to grow up. It's time for you to pass the test finally and be limitless.
Yes.
Whew, I can talk and talk and talk and talk. I'm just going to pause and see out that one. Jessica, any final thoughts or comments? And everyone, anybody, Burrell, any of you have anything to say in the replay or now, please
You unpack a
share.
lot, but one thing that take responsibility um,
Yeah.
for your life. Take ownership of your journey. Um, and like Sarah said, don't use an excuse as to why you can't commit to the things in your life. And sometimes we use our significant others in our relationships as to why we can't commit to things in our life, why we can't be a whole person. But it's never, again, we said this in the last few shows, it's never about just the other person. It's going to always go back to you. It's always going to start at home. And my final thought on you talked about the faith-based community and things like that. I know. I know about, I will call it a false sense of commitment because it's works-based. And what I mean by that is we can translate that for people who aren't in the faith-based community. Works-based means that what you do defines who you are, and that elevates or defines your level of commitment.
Now, Jessica is saying some great stuff that I can't hear. Couldn't hear you. You're saying some, I could tell you were saying some hot stuff because in your expressions and your mannerisms and your movement. But for me, it just went out. I'm not sure, but
I was just saying that sometimes we get caught up in the commitment through our roles.
yes.
And we say, I'm a committed person because I'm a good mom, or I'm a committed person because I'm a great, worker. I'm a committed person because I'm a good family member, or I'm a good friend. But what happens when we talk about that deeper level of commitment that's connected to our purpose, that is in conjunction with God's will and purpose for our life? In other words, that means that now we have to look a little deeper. We have to dig under the surface, because here's the thing: we want success in our romantic relationships, but the truth is, at the end of the day, it is you and your purpose. Okay? Anyone that comes into your life is going to add to that. Anybody who comes into your life is going to assist with that. But when you are committed to who you are and what you are called to do in your life and what your passion and your purpose is, then other things fall into line. Dr. Sarah said that sometimes it seems forced. When you are walking in purpose, it's peace. It's not forced. It's not something that you have to try and convince other people to do. It's something that is something that flows. It's a flow. And so when you're with that person, it's like she said, alignment. You got to look for peace in every single area of your life. A commitment should not be a chore. A commitment should not be arduous. A commitment should be something that flows. It's going to be hard, it's going to be work, but it should flow. So that's my final word. When you're thinking about commitment, especially for those men and women who are trying to, or who are apprehensive about moving forward with someone, it's going to be work. And if you're not committed to that work, then you might want to step aside and walk to the side, because you want to make sure that there's peace in the midst of anything that you do, especially surrounding the topic of commitment.
Thank you so much, Jess, for sharing that. And
No problem.
as always, this has been amazing. I want to ask you, how can they reach you? But before that, we're going to actually end it with Pharrell's comment. He said, acknowledging those things that are challenging in the polyamorous, if I said it right, relationships calls into question whether or not that type of relationship is what you really want. So yes, indeed, it really calls you out to see if this is something that you really wanted in the first place or you really didn't. And if you don't, you can make the decision to end, to cease and desist, as opposed to trying to get yourself to convince yourself and try to like it because everybody else in the relationship said that they like it. If you don't, be your own person, get out, step out. I can't tell you what to do and not do. I'm just saying you have a choice. You can decide to stay or not. Just know that you have a choice. So thank you, Burrell, and thank you everybody for tuning in. Thank you for showing up live. Thank you for the replay, showing up for the replay. If you found value with this conversation, please continue to tag, like, and share. Thank you so much for the shares. We see you sharing it out on your platforms. We really appreciate that, because see, sharing is caring, and you never know, you just might help someone become limitless in the process. So please, Jessica, take us home. This is Dr. Sarah Renee Langley, your Limitless Liberator. Y'all make sure y'all stay tuned. Look out for the banners that we have to let you know when we're going to show up again. And Jessica, how can they find you?
You can all reach me on my website, jessicacarin.com. That's JESSICAKARIN.com. It will give you links to all of my social media, my books, and anything else that I have going on. And also with the share of this video, you will see my Facebook as well. So thank you so much for tuning in.
All right, everyone. Y'all take care of a great one. We'll talk to you again soon. Be limitless. Bye. Thank you, Jess. Thank you, everyone.
Bye.